This is Aaron Levine, LG Insurance, with another episode of the And Insurance podcast. And it's a little bit of a role reversal today. I have Andrew Talcott from OK7 Creative. I don't even know the name of your business, and we've been working together for how long?
It's been a few years.
You're just like OK7 to me.
It's OK7. That's all it is. It's a what I call it now. Thanks for the introduction. I appreciate that. It is weird to be on the other side.
Welcome.
Were you done? Should I keep talking or no?
I'm used to it. I'm ready to just sit back and let you do the talking.
I
and
get to talk now. It's my turn. I get to say things.
So, I'm going to ask you the awkward questions now.
Perfect.
But, I'm the one that likes to talk about the weird insurance-related stuff.
As far as OK7 goes, it started out with just kind of web design and graphic design. And as I kind of got into it, it expanded beyond that with social media. And what it's really kind of, in the last couple of years, I've been really trying to figure out what I want to do and what I enjoy doing and what I'm good at. And it really comes down to just content creation is what I really, have been focusing on, more recently. So that's why I just call it a creative agency. I might change it up. I might change whatever the subtitle is from now, but that's why I just say OK7 because it's whatever I want it to be at the time.
Creative agency,
Yeah.
which is perfect. That's why we're here. That's why we're on this podcast. I mean, we were running around with Totally Local podcasts for so long. That started out in, I want to say it was March of 2020. We did our first one, you and I. It was via Zoom.
Yeah.
And then we just kept running for every week until we were allowed out of the house at that point.
Well,
and then we started going live drinking, and we're going to be coming back soon with a Totally Tequila podcast.
Hell yeah.
In the next couple of weeks. Hopefully that should be, coming out about the same time as this episode. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be 4 drunk dudes sitting around talking business while drinking tequila.
Testing. It's taste testing.
Taste testing. Sorry, we're going to tone it down. We're just going to say taste testing. But we're going to drink some tequila and talk business. It's you, me, Evan Beach from Equity Prime Mortgage, and Christopher Dietz from Tommy's Tavern and Tap, and Bonfiglio and Dietz CPAs. So we're going to have a good time doing that. Yeah. But you and I have been working together for a few years, and we've jumped in and pivoted into a few different spaces, and I've got notes in front of me. If you can see my notes, I had my assistant, my admin, print some stuff out because we've been talking about NFTs, right? We've been talking a little bit of crypto. NFT is a style of crypto in some way, shape, or form, right?
Technically, it's all blockchain technology. An NFT is just a non-fungible token, so it's kind of
define fungible.
I mean, it's something that can't be replaced or can't be, you can't transfer it or it is what it is, basically.
It is what it is. And it's in the blockchain, so there's a good record keeping of it. But NFTs are all over the news, all over everywhere.
Way too much now.
And while I understand the utility of an NFT, and I actually like the future value of the NFT, the digital art space is something that I don't think I've ever gotten into. Like my wallet's all set up. I'm ready to hit buy, or transfer to wallet with Ethereum fake money that I use real money to purchase said fake money with. But I haven't put any art in my wallet yet.
Yeah, don't until you do a lot of research because there's a lot. It's reached a saturation point now where people are doing these derivative projects where they're basically taking, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is the most, arguably the most popular one right now. And they're just taking it and they're just taking the art and then they're making their whole other new whatever derivative project. And it's not the same. And people are just, their eyes turn into those giant, it's like a cartoon. It looks just their eyes turn into cash money, symbols. And they think they're going to make a bunch of money. And it's just, that is just not going to, realistically happen at this point in the game. So, I mean, people got to be real careful. There's a lot of hate, too. I don't even want to have beefs on social media. I think it's ridiculous. But there's a whole contingent of people that they say they touch on 3 points all the time. The environment, money laundering, And what was the third one?
We've been talking about money laundering since Bitcoin, hit the scene.
Well, we've been talking about money laundering since money hit the scene.
Have you watched Reacher on Prime? I mean, that's all about, big time money laundering.
I prefer the Tom Cruise movies. I think they're horribly underrated, but I have been watching Reacher on Prime, and obviously not as charismatic as Tom Cruise, but I have been watching it. It's fun to. It's a good action show, It's good. It's a
good action show. I'm on like episode 6, and I'm like, all right, can we get to the end now?
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna beat somebody up, and someone's gonna die, and I'm just like,
fast forward it. I'm like,
I've had enough, but I'm gonna stick to it, to the end on that one.
That's me too.
But going back on track to the NFT space, you talk about Bored Apes, and I've been on OpenSea, and I've seen baby apes and young apes and junior apes,
that
and
don't even bother.
gang apes and
ape gang.
Ape gang. Oh, you're an ape gang. You're a gang leader, right?
I was a gang leader. I am no longer.
You resigned.
Leader.
But when you resign as a gang leader in the real world, you get killed.
Yeah, my apes.
So you're
are fine.
okay?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm okay.
Okay.
But that one, Ape Gang, is it's a little different than the other ones. People have asked me. I've been getting more DMs now on Twitter asking me about NFT stuff, and what I tell people most of the time is like, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do, which is, turn into a $250,000, Bored Ape Yacht Club type project. So, really be careful and always, like, if you're not, only use money that you're willing to just burn. Only use money if you're not willing to take that money, that stack of money, and light it on fire, then do not buy any NFTs. Like, that's my number one advice to people. Like, it's a very turbulent and chaotic space, which is one of the reasons I love it. It's kind of like the Wild West. Over the since we've been working together, my business has shifted, and it's taken on a new meaning for me, and as time goes on, and I really started
as it should.
Yeah. Well, as the pandemic went into full swing, my wife just had our first child. So even before that, I was dealing with all these, issues as far as what the hell am I doing? I'm going to have a kid. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, oh my God. I
still don't know.
Yeah. So, I really started to think about what the business kind of was about, or how to restructure, or how to treat it more like an actual business, and in that time, it's expanded. I have a social media manager. I've hired content writers. I got a legit accountant and a bookkeeper. Because
I thought you were going to say a legit accountant and a illegitimate accountant.
There's the crypto accountant, and then there's my regular accountant. No, I got a bookkeeper, which is it was a lot of common sense stuff, I think, for most people.
Right.
But for me, I had to figure this stuff as I was I guess everyone does that. They figure it out as they go.
We figure it out as we go. I mean, I've been in business for 12, 13 years now with LG Insurance, and it's taken many iterations. Now we've got 11 people on the team. Mm-hmm. Your team is part of the team, and I love outsourcing to continue to expand the team, find people who are great at things. I got a blog article over the weekend from a vendor that I follow, and it was all about him saying, look, I can do every job in my company. I can't do it good, but I've done it before. I can probably do it again, but I'd rather hire somebody that's going to be really good at it.
Yeah.
And let me go do what I'm really good at, which is why I'm here, behind the microphone talking to you, because I'm helping create content. And then I've got an appointment to go to right after I leave here to, go speak to a new business that's opening up in Atlantic Highlands, right? So I'm going to do what I'm going to do best. And I've got teams of people that are going to do what they're going to do best to service and sell, other insurance related products while we're doing what we're going to do best. You said something before talking about the NFTs, about it being the Wild West. When it comes to insurance and digital art, we're going to call it digital art, because I think that's one way to tone it down from calling it a non-fungible token.
NFTs do a number of other things, but the focus right now
is the art. Right. So I asked a couple of insurance carriers about this. I'm not going to name insurance company names because I don't want their comments to get back to them. I got one. He spelled my name wrong after he responded to me. Thanks so much for that. It's all about zeros and ones, nothing physical. That one was pretty tame. I got another one of, we don't understand any of it. We're not going to be able to help.
That's awesome.
Where's my favorite one? Is this it? This one says, the fluctuations in market value will leave us way too overexposed. We can't afford to insure digital art.
Illiquid JPEGs are not insurable.
Here we go. No coverage provided at this time. Per our chief claim officer, we should not insure make-believe non-tangible items. Right? I love that one. Like, he's like, F this. This is fake stuff.
It's all make-believe.
It's all make-believe, but the world of the NFT, the utility of it for the future is super awesome. I think eventually within the next 10 years, our driver's licenses, children's birth certificates, medical records are all going to be NFT based. Yeah. Right? That's how it's going to be locked and secured in your digital wallet.
Yeah, well, it's going to be blockchain technology based. I think that I was thinking about this morning. Like the word NFT, I think has become so derogatory that they'll probably replace it with other words as time goes on for different like sectors or whatever.
Can you coin one? Can we get ahead of that? And
yeah. I mean that's the thing.
Andrew Talcott coins the new.
We've talked about this before, and then I did a deep dive into the development of how to, set up your own NFT and do it where it's all on chain. Because a lot of this stuff, and people point this out too, is that, they say it's decentralized, but when you actually look at the code, it's like it's not on the blockchain because that would be so resource intensive. They just kind of point a link. Like, here's your image of your monkey. It goes to this AWS server, like an Amazon server link. So it's still in some ways very centralized, which is kind of ridiculous.
It's funny.
And that's why I brought up before, like how my business has expanded was I started to realize I'm like, well, I got to get business minded. I got to start listening to audiobooks, researching things just on the business. You could either work in your business or you work on your business.
E-Myth.
So exactly. So like E-Myth Revisited, like there's certain books that I read, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad over the summer. I finally got to that one late spring in the summer. And, he really talks about real estate a lot in that and investing in real estate, which I think is great if you could do it. But, especially in this area and at this time, it's kind of not really realistic to, So, but what I was paying attention to when he was talking about this, opportunities are going to come along and you're going to fail and you're going to succeed and you're just going to have to, if you don't try different things, you're never going to learn what the hell works, what doesn't.
Right.
So, and you got to take risks. So that's what I did with this whole NFT thing over the summer. I was reading up on it. I was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. These opportunities came up. I looked into them and I was just like, all right, whatever. I had some cryptocurrency, I had some Ethereum laying around, and I invested in these couple things. And people thought it was crazy. I really didn't tell people about it. I still don't talk about all, whatever I did. But I put some money into it, and they gained value. So, I mean, that's going to say, what I'm trying to say is that taking that risk. Investing in my business wasn't a risk. Investing in my business was was me learning about how to do business more successfully or how to become successful. And from doing so, I was led to that book, which kind of talked about taking risks, calculated, but sometimes you just got to grip it and rip it. And that's what I did. And that's kind of how I ended up down this whole, NFT rabbit hole. So I don't know. Anyway,
hey, listen, it's ready, fire, aim. And I operate the same way. I like to just, shoot from the hip, get things done. I'm in a space right now where we're working more disclosure based with respect to a lot of the insurance products that we're putting out there because there's so many moving pieces. We're doing a lot in the cybercrime space. The cyber insurance stuff right now
it's huge.
Is annoying right now. Yeah, it's huge because the crimes are just nonstop, never ending, and ever bigger, even for small businesses. And we're seeing small businesses get compromised with respect to, it could be small bank accounts, stuff, ransomware. anything that comes about, and the phishing. There's so much going on in the criminal space, the crime space, cyber related. If somebody had to ask me a question, should I buy a fire policy for my building or a cyber policy for my business? I'm saying buy that cyber policy. Wow. You're more likely to get hacked than you are to have a fire, right?
There's so many different ways of getting hacked.
Right.
And then a lot of it, from me, on the like an outsider's perspective, and to bring it back to NFTs one more time, is everyone's talking about how they're getting robbed and things are happening and it's bad. But a lot of it is like, what we've talked about before is like social engineering, where they're just confidence building. They're getting you to like send them a seed phrase. The scammers are getting you to like click on a malicious link. So, sometimes it's user error where they're just kind of putting themselves.
It's user error, but when I put on Twitter that I need help with, my NFT thing because I don't know who to reach out to, and some nice guy's going to help you do it. You fall for that phishing trap so easily, especially in this digital space where it's still relatively new, right? Okay. Yeah, I get a funny email from the Prince of Arabia. I know it's fake. Maybe I might click on it anyway.
Yeah.
But even these email phishing scams are still prevalent, but people trying to get into this new space and try to make a quick buck in crypto are getting defrauded so much more. And then not talking about it because it's more embarrassing than anything.
Yeah, or
because you lost your money.
Well, bringing it up when it comes down, when people are complaining, say on like Twitter, and they're saying, "Oh, I was robbed. I was blah blah." They don't point out the fact that they gave over their seed phrase to their wallet, or they clicked on a link in a Discord thinking somebody was going to help them, or instead of going the normal route of selling or trading an NFT, say you just list it for sale on OpenSea. That's like a standard way of selling an NFT. But I've seen people where they're in talks with somebody, the scammer gains their confidence. They're like, "Oh, we're going to trade it on this new website." And they click on it and it's like, bye-bye, it's gone, There's ways, the thing is too with blockchain, since it is in this immutable record and it's like a digital ledger that's just keeping track of everything that's going on and where things are going, you can kind of follow it. You can kind of see, all right, this person sold it to that person, but it is still the Wild West where like you have these emails where where these insurance companies have no idea what to do.
They don't know what to do, right? If it gets stolen, maybe there's a record of who stole it, but good luck going to get it back from that wallet.
Yeah,
right?
they're gonna.
There's no OpenSea police out there to go get it.
They stole your NFT, then they sold it to somebody else, then they took that Ethereum that they made, then they spun it. You could take it, you could break it up into a bunch of different wallets. You could actually send it somewhere where it gets basically laundered, like digitally laundered, and it's kind of gone. There are ways of tracking all this stuff. It takes a little bit of work to do it. And then you're basically left with whoever bought your stolen item. You can go talk to them and say, "Gee whiz, can I have it back?" Sometimes they give it back. Sometimes, they don't. But, it's really the Wild West. And that's why I got into it, because I really feel like this whole NFT thing and marketing is going to, it's going to converge. When you see that, I wasn't using Twitter. If you're not active on Twitter or you don't have like a community on Twitter, there's no point in using Twitter. So I started using Twitter because I was on TikTok. They were talking about NFTs and all this stuff, and everyone had these Twitter accounts. I went back to Twitter. I started using it again. And, one small example of how to utilize an NFT for marketing, I've joined a project. I've bought an NFT, say for like Creature World. I use it as my profile pic, and I say, "Hey, what other creatures are out there? Yada, yada, yada. Let's go." And I gained a lot of followers just by doing that. So that's like a marketing trick. Whatever it cost me to buy that NFT, you got to look at it as like an advertising expense. So that was one way I gained followers. I was like, wow, that's interesting. And the more I used it, the more I could see, well, people are building these Discord communities using NFTs where you join a Discord server, you verify that you own the NFT, then you're in the server. If you can't verify you own it, then you can't join that channel. So I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Instead of having, a Facebook set up or having, an email list, which you should obviously have those things, but this is a whole nother thing, to kind of use with marketing. And I think once I started getting into it, I talked to you about I'm like, hey, insurance and blockchain, it really doesn't matter what you know about it. in the sense that you don't have to have, you could have like those emails you have, saying I'm not touching it, it's malarkey. But, what it comes down to from an SEO perspective is you start talking about this stuff before it hits mainstream, before it's like really all over the place, before, insurance companies are talking about NFTs and blockchain. They are talking about them a little bit, but you could kind of hedge your bets or get in there with just a nice SEO'd like article, blog post on your website.
Yeah, so we've been looking at, the digital art space, plus we've talked a little bit about cyber. I did find some information out there that there are some decentralized insurance related entities.
Yeah.
We'll say related entities because they're not going to be your traditional insurance carrier, that are working in the space to help businesses with their, protect themselves if there's an error or a hack of their smart contract. Not necessarily the theft of the digital art and the value of the digital art, or theft of crypto because you did something silly. But when you have that smart contract set up, if there's a hack or a breach or an issue with your contract that causes that, where there's a glitch that caused you financial harm, right? It has to cost you money. Most insurance talks about physical loss, the loss of a building, a person, a limb, whatever it may be. This is financial loss, which are traditionally crime policies, errors and omissions policies. These are things that are the traditional piece, but there's financial loss for some of these smart contracts if they're breached, if they're hacked, and you can't trace it back. But the biggest expense with that is going to be the forensic investigation that goes along with it.
Yeah.
These cyber forensic investigators charge more than high-powered lawyers do.
Yeah.
I mean, these white hat hacker guys make a ton of money doing what they're doing because they're working in the dark web and doing things in different spaces than we know about. So it's interesting to read about these new insurance style entities. I don't know how it eventually may relate to our auto insurance and our home insurance and our physical property, but protecting us from financial loss. If we were able to create an insurance related blockchain, insurance related NFT, we would probably want to insure that smart contract to protect ourselves from additional loss, not just the loss of the digital artwork that's associated with it. It's the utility that goes with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not only not only the NFT part of it, but the blockchain technology in regards to insurance or real estate. I mean, it's a digital ledger that's immutable. It's on the blockchain. If you know how to look at it, you could look at it. Everyone agrees that basically what this says is true. It's infallible. It is what it is. So I think as time goes on, insurance, deeds to houses, all these things are going to be, I mean, you know how real estate agents, how they have to deal with like tracking down like all the information, all the records for a house. Oh, was there an oil tank or whatever on the property? It was underground. Like, when was it? Oh, Gladys lost the paperwork back in 56. So we don't really know. Like, all of these things are going to be digitally stored so that you could kind of more easily look that stuff up. Now that means that like some middlemen are going to kind of go away, but there's probably going to be room for other middlemen to come in and make some money off of that. And I mean, that's really kind of what it comes down to. The thing I was trying to think of before, money, like as far as NFTs, people are getting really upset about stuff, really freaking out about it, and they just don't understand. Money laundering has been going on forever. So it didn't start with NFTs. Crypto didn't invent that. The environmental stuff, I've never heard so many eco warriors on Twitter being like, this isn't right, we got to do something. Listen, you're not doing anything about the environment. You're driving around in your car, you're using your phone. These batteries are mined by like children in giant mud pits. Like, you don't care about the environment. And then the third thing was a silicone shortage. People are saying that we have no chips because of NFTs and stuff. And that's just ridiculous. The reason we're running out of silicone and chips is because everything uses chips. Like, and a portion of that is, of course, cryptocurrency, NFTs, blockchain technology. So I've been dealing with, I had actually somebody the other day comment on one of my posts or something I commented on. They're like, people in New York are there's power outages in New York because of NFTs. I'm like, wow, you have really, kind of lost.
This is going back to like the early days of Bitcoin mining, where somebody would power down the grid.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing when you have a marijuana farm in your basement and you're pulling more juice off the grid than your next 10 neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely right now, and I think people got to look at that. They got to look back at like the .com bubble and the bubble where like everything was overvalued and then it all collapsed. But guess what? Did Amazon like come out of that? Yeah, it did. And it's one of the largest, if not the largest company on the planet right now. Talk about waste, but we don't have to get into that. People back then didn't understand email. Like when we were kids, there people didn't get email. Like,
I love when I communicate with somebody that's still on an America Online email account.
Yeah, it's scary, but true. That's where everyone was. They were on AIM. They had their AOL email. That's where it all started, and look at where we are now. So people got to start thinking of it in kind of that respect, I think. Right. But anyway.
All right, so what's next for OK7 now that we've got all the NFT talk out? And by the way, there's so much more NFT talk to come, because there's a lot of fun stuff and it's ever developing in this blockchain.
It's not going anywhere.
And I want to see where we can go on it with insurance, because you know what? It's a little bit exciting. It's something new. To talk about for the insurance space and how we can protect investors and protect creators and kind of go about that. So I'd love to get into that space a little bit more. Like, cannabis is not something I was very interested in on the insurance side of things. There are great agents that deal all day, every day in cannabis. And I'm sure at some point there's going to be great agents that deal all day, every day in this digital world.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to be that guy. Maybe I will. I can always continue to learn and see where it goes next. But what's next for OK7? What are you doing with respect to bringing on new clients? Where's the business going?
What I've noticed is, especially with what I do, it all comes in cycles, and people get really. I used to do a lot of work with real estate agents, and I pretty much don't deal with real estate agents anymore. Sorry, guys. I'll deal with agencies, but I'm not going to deal with agents, because it's just not worth it. But what would always happen, and it still happens regardless of real estate or not, but like in the spring, everything heats up, and like people are more interested in like, throwing marketing money around and making sure that they're getting out there. So as I've learned this, I've learned to prepare, early in the year to make sure that I'm ready for like when people start wanting to push stuff out. So I'm always gearing up for that every year. I'm always gearing up for the spring. I don't know why. That's just how it happens. Maybe because it's nice out and people just want to do stuff. Aside from that, I'm pushing out more content. For so long, I was telling everyone what to do, and like I wasn't doing it. To be,
I hate you for that.
Like
the marketing guy is not doing his own marketing, just like the insurance guy hates paying his insurance bill.
Yeah, like it was it's kind of a pain, but I've realized over time that like I need to put myself through those pain points the same way my clients are going through. It's easy for me to say, hey, Aaron, do this, just grind it out. It's another thing for me to tell you that and to also be doing it at the same time.
Shout out to Howard Klein. We had this conversation with him where, Howard was here on the podcast as well, talking about Landmark 360, and they had troubles doing their own marketing.
Yeah. It's tough.
It's tough. I don't watch my own podcast. I don't listen to my own podcast. I don't like listening to myself talk. So as a marketing person, we all have those same reservations. So Swayze Sunday, it's all about Swayze Sunday.
Swayze Sunday, exactly. Like and stuff like that. Hashtag Swayze Sunday. I started thinking about the business and I'm like, I just want it to be fun and weird, like kind of like me. I don't want it to. I didn't want to go down the route of your normal marketer. Like, there's people I follow, marketers I follow out there, and they're marketers for other marketers. And I started to realize how ridiculous the space was. And the word marketing in and of itself bothers me, and that's why I kind of want to focus on content creation. I want to help the clients get the information out there in a way that's easily digestible and explains the services that are offered by my clients. I want them to explain what they do and pump out a whole bunch of content so that it's always in people's faces, and it's not BS. It's based on what they actually do. And what I've seen more and more is that these marketers are just rehashing what people have done in marketing for the, since 2007. They're still doing basically the landing page, the form, the click here, the incentive, all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, we've all learned how this works and what to do here. But I don't see a lot of value in the sense of, okay, well, let's be honest with people. Let's just inform them about what it is you do, and that's really where for me, that's where it all has to start when I help people. So I'm getting that point more across to people.
Well, it's the three pillars, three of the pillars that we set up, while we're doing our content creation is, inform, right? The information, education, and then the entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what it is.
And you have to do that. You have to make it so that it's not, look, I'm dealing with a real estate company right now. We're getting their schedule and their strategy together. And what you don't want to do is what, maybe older generations are going to want to do with their marketing, which is, I sell properties. So what do you want to do? I want to put my property and have it say for sale on every single Instagram post and from here until the property sells. Well, guess what? No one cares. No one cares about that. Like you have to be informative. You have to show that you're an authority on what you're kind of trying to sell. And you have to market yourself in a way that is entertaining, that is informational. But like when you're putting stuff out on social media, no one really gives a crap if you have a property for sale or you have something for rent. You have to think creatively to figure out how can I let people know or inform people about what it is I do for a living and what it is I'm about without being so like just boring and direct. You want to let people know that you're experienced. You want to share knowledge with them. And then once you do that and you've established yourself as an authority on that, then, what the ideal thing is, oh, I trust this person. I think they're funny. I like them. I see them on social media. Hey, my sister's selling her house. This guy's cool. I'm going to link them up or tag her in this and maybe, whatever, and get a lead that way. That's my approach to it. Not everybody thinks about it the same way, but that's how I look at it.
Don't be boring. I mean, that's, the moral of this story is don't be boring.
And don't be boring.
Be consistent. Get your information out there. Just, you know what? Turn the camera on, turn the microphone on. You don't need to be in a studio.
No.
Use your cell phone. The technology is great. It helps to be in the studio. Shout out to Rec Productions. Thanks so much. Andrew, thanks for joining me today. It was nice to have this little role reversal.
This is fun.
Can't wait to flip it back again. I'll see you soon.
I can keep talking. I keep doing this all day, guys. We're not turning it off. It's just going to be unedited.
Just keep it going. I'm leaving. Andrew's going to be here by himself.
There's going to be a 3-hour version of this. Stay tuned. Thanks a lot, Aaron.